You're listening to Protect It All, where Aaron Crow expands the conversation beyond just OT, delving into the interconnected worlds of IT and OT cybersecurity. Get ready for essential strategies and insights. Here's your host, Aaron Crow.
Awesome. Hey, welcome, Neal. Why don't you introduce yourself? I'll introduce myself. We're kind of putting this on multiple platforms. So kind of depending on the audience, just kind of give everybody an introduction to who we are.
Yeah. So excited to do this with you, buddy.
Yeah, man.
For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Neal Conlon, and I'm at this very interesting intersection in my own life and journey. What I mean by that, not to sound so like philosophical there, but I realized recently that all through my entire professional career, I've been focused on providing safety and security for others. And I think I do that because I grew up in a very challenging household, and parents divorced at a young age, and bunch of different things going on, lots of movements. And so I had to develop my own instincts. And I fundamentally, for a very long time in my life, only trusted myself and my instincts. And so I developed very strong instinct skills. And, you know, since I grew up, you know, in this challenging household and was forced to develop these instincts of how I trust things, I've created a whole entire journey throughout my life about creating safety and security for others. And that manifested itself in joining the Marine Corps and serving a bunch of years protecting the country, defending the country. It then turned into me going into financial services and working in financial services for years and providing financial experience and technology experience. Then I grew into technology really hefty and realized like tech is like going to be a thing, and went deep into the world of technology. And then that led me into the world of cybersecurity, which obviously is providing protection for people digitally. And then it led me down the path of sales into like learning how to develop relationships. Again, another trust and safety and security thing. And then ultimately after that, it led me into the world of coaching, where became really, really focused on developing safety and security, you know, around mindset and around community and brotherhood and partnership. And ultimately that led me to this amazing relationship that I have with you now, where we're doing all these amazing things and bringing that to people.
Yeah, man. It's amazing how different, but similar our stories are, right? You know, obviously I did not serve in the Marine Corps or any of the special or any of the military service, but very similar kind of upbringing, right? You know, my parents were together. I didn't go through divorce, but still like had their own challenges from, you know, everybody has their story and how they grew up and, you know, how it impacted them. But for me, it was, you know, technology was always really good. I was always, you know, super smart in school and math and sciences and all these different things. And technology really just clicked with me. So I've always kind of been in technology, but similar to you, like I also got into real estate. I had my real estate license and I ran a real estate brokerage and I did bank on foreclosures, and I bought and flipped houses, and I did real estate investing, and I started getting into the sales side of that. And then I started doing like some public speaking. And, so I was really trying to find ways to be, you know, kind of enhance my career beyond just, you know, I'm smart from a technology perspective, but I learned pretty soon or pretty quick on in my career that there was a ceiling I would hit, right? I could only grow so much by being the smartest firewall guy or network guy or, you know, server guy, right? Because I was competing on the same level as other people that, you know, could have had more experience than me or whatever, right? So I, by having these other soft skills, by being a public speaker, by being able to have these conversations, by being able to go up and do all these other softer skills, which really are sales. I never called myself a salesman, but I was doing sales without the sales title. And it showed up in, you know, I was a CTO, and part of my role as a CTO in a small company was sales, right? I was going in front of customers and pitching these ideas and showing the technology. I had to be good at the tech, but I also had to be good at the sales side. Like, and it became this different thing. And part of that is because, like you, I had this journey, on, men's masterminds and professional and self and with my relationship with my wife and all these different things. I say this story a lot, but I used to be 350 pounds. Like, I was massively overweight. I was unhappy in work. I was unhappy in my marriage. And it wasn't my wife's problem. There was a lot of problems that I had to deal with myself. And as I started dealing with those things, I started getting happier and better in business. And I started getting better in all of these areas as I started taking care of myself, my mindset, and how I approach things. Everything started improving. Does that mean it was it was magical? Or no, I still had to do the work. I still have to go out and do the things, but it was amazing how that mindset shift changed from, I'm miserable in my job and poor, pitiful me to, okay, if I don't like something, go change it. Like, go do something about that. Right. And that's where we cross paths in this mindset and mastermind and self-improvement world. And I think, we'd known each other online digitally for probably a year or so, or maybe a little more. And then we saw each other. I think you saw me at RSA, which is obviously cybersecurity conference. And then again at Black Hat. We're like, okay, this isn't too much of a coincidence. We see each other. We're posting on each other's stuff all the time. And then we see each other. Wait, you're a cyber guy? And I'm this is too much of a coincidence. And then I think the first time we actually met was at Black Hat in person. And we went to a rooftop bar and had a tequila shot and talked all night. And ever since then, we talk, constantly. So
yeah. And I think, here's the thing is like, what comes up for me in a big piece of the work that you and I have done both, separately and together, now that we've known each other for a couple of years, is like, one of my mentors said this to me a couple of years ago, and it stuck with me. And you hear me say it all the time. It's like, man, everything happens at the speed of trust.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds great. And it sounds like a good meme, and it sounds like a good Instagram video, but it really is true, and I think one of the things that, you currently live in Texas with your family, I'm packing up literally as we speak and getting ready to move out of my house and move to Texas, in a couple months. And we live in this world now in 2024 where, people struggle with trusting the ingredients on the food.
Right.
So literally at the foundation, there's problems, right? People struggle to trust politics in any way, shape, or form, and the misuse of words is hard to trust. People struggle to trust the news. People struggle to trust facts versus truth, and then we wonder why we're struggling in so many other elements of our lives, right? And something that just comes up really relevant to me to segue into our events that are coming up. It's very, very interesting. We've had this physical security challenge assassination attempt that's happened regardless of how you politically feel about it. It was a physical challenge, physical security challenge, right? Stuff like that should not be able to happen, right? Then literally a day and a half, 2 days later, we have this global infrastructure IT outage that literally shuts down like somewhere between 40 and 60% of the planet for 3 days. And that's only the things that they're reporting, right? And so I think what's interesting about the world of cybersecurity especially is the fact that it used to be a bunch of geeks and a bunch of nerdy people and the classic like hoodie hacker thing with blue and green lights going. And if you're not watching the video, Aaron has blue and green lights behind him, and it says Geek Squad, right?
That's right.
But now we have this thing where It's one thing if there was an assassination attempt on somebody and it didn't affect the public. It's another thing if we had a cybersecurity thing that didn't affect the general public. Both of those events severely impacted the general public over a 48-hour period. Right. Like people's flights were canceled. You know, my girlfriend was at the airport the next morning, and I called her at 3:00 in the morning, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Why wouldn't I be okay?" And her flight was delayed, and she was like, "How do you know my flight's delayed?" I'm like, "Because people are calling me and telling me, did you see what's going on in the world?" And what's interesting about that is the response after those events politically are from both sides. And again, this is not a political thing, but the word they use is that we must unite. We must unite. And I've been stuck on this for a couple of days because the only time in history that any of our society has ever been able to actually unite globally, Asia, Europe, wherever, any period of time, we only unite under two conditions: God and war.
Yeah.
And yet these political affiliates are using these words, trying to get a certain feeling out of people, and yet we're supposed to trust them.
Yeah.
And so I think what we've been able to do, you know, over the past couple of years from, you know, running our first event together, you know, at the rig offshore, which was taking, you know, a bunch of guys 30 plus miles, you know, to trust us enough to go 30 miles offshore. We had for 3 days at the rig, we had multiple things that didn't go as planned for that event, but trust kind of brought us through it. And then, you know, the beginning of this year, doing the 100-man fly-in in Austin, Texas. And now that brings us to our next event series, you know, which is being held at a place that we think is amazing, which is the Staccato Ranch that you've introduced me to.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So what is this new event, right? And this one is a little different as well because we're focusing this event on cybersecurity, right? So we're doing that bridge between the cyber and the physical. Again, both of us working in cybersecurity as one of the things that we do amongst many other things. But that cybersecurity world is super important, and the difference between cyber physical and cyber digital. There's especially in a lot of the things that I do in operational technology and OT, those lines are fairly blurred. Like I impact a digital thing and it impacts a physical thing in the real world, right? So again, the CrowdStrike incident that we just saw, you know, shutting down airports, et cetera, like we're starting to see more and more correlation and causation on those cyber and physical environments where, you know, we're impacting the real world. Like we're shutting down grids, we're shutting down same thing in the Olympics. It wasn't a cyber event, but in the Olympics, the first day opening ceremonies, there was an arson. They started a fire on the train going to the opening ceremony to shut down that environment. Like there's little things that you could do. There's physical attacks on transmission substations in North Carolina last year. Like the list just goes on and on and on. Like I literally had a podcast this week about the CrowdStrike incident. So this event is to bring together something different, right? So we go to conferences. You and I are going to be at Black Hat next week.
Yeah.
We're doing these things. This is going to be different than that, right? So it's going to be bringing together cyber executives in a space that we can work on more than just the tech, the geeky stuff that I have behind me in my office here, but also that camaraderie, that networking, and put it into a place where we can break down those barriers, right? We can, you know, you said it earlier, and I love this, and we use it all the time now is we trust, you know, we move at the speed of trust, right? So the more that we get to know each other, the faster we can grow. And I know, you know, Charlie and I went to, Charlie's my son. Charlie and I went to Staccato Ranch yesterday, actually. And during that time, we had a couple of guys that were there, and they were fairly new to shooting. Now, these are expert level or black belt jujitsu guys. They're jiu-jitsu competitors, like they're training with the best in the world. Like, and I'm a white belt in jiu-jitsu. Charlie just got his yellow belt this past week. But Charlie, my 15-year-old, noticed as we were coming home, he's like, "Dad, you know what was really cool today?" He said, I'm taking classes and I'm getting in, one-on-one instruction with this person that is a black belt, and he's teaching me all this stuff for my competition that's coming up, and he's really good at jiu-jitsu. But when he went out there, he wasn't as good at shooting. He was a fairly new shooter. He goes, I'm 15 and I was able to show him and give him instruction on something that I'm good at that he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the whole premise of this concept of this event that we're doing is have more than just talk tech, right? We're not just going to talk ones and zeros. We're not just going to talk, which products do we like and what's our budget problems on, getting cybersecurity programs implemented, and, where are we having problems with phishing and denial of service attacks and malware and backups and all the different tech stuff. Like, we can talk about that stuff, and we will talk about that stuff. But it's more than that. It's also building relationships with other CISOs. It's building relationships with vendors. And it's not a sales pitch, right? We are going to have vendors on site, but the whole point of them is to have conversation and dialogue. We're going to have a fireside chat. We're going to have a lunch and learn. We're going to do a factory tour. So let's take a step back really quick. And why don't you just give us the elevator pitch of what this thing is, and what it is that people can expect as an attendee of this event.
Yeah, and I think you hit on a really interesting point, especially in this world now where, like, there's this big, huge kind of transformational event happening, I think, in the world of cybersecurity in itself, but it's in technology, right? So along with, all these AI tool and platforms coming into fruition, you're going to see this big consolidation happening, right? And so a lot of the hard skills that probably were very, very valuable for a long time are very quickly being eroded because there's an AI tool that can do the thing.
Right.
Now, with that, what's happened is there's been all kinds of layoffs and the structures have changed. So there is, one of the most valuable things I think that people will look to me for when they're on the enterprise side of cybersecurity is that I've become a trusted partner over the time that I've done this work. So people will call me, and CISOs and board members will call me and say, "Hey, can you look at this contract? Can you do this thing? Can you give me some advice?" And I've been predominantly a salesperson on the cyber side, which is unheard of in a lot of circles.
Mm-hmm.
So a big piece of this event is really it's created trusted partnerships with people in a space where things are evolving very, very quickly and changing. And I think predominantly you would like to think that we could live in a world where, as a decision maker, you can become not be reactive, right? But be proactive. But now, like the last two events that have just happened, the assassination attempt and the global IT outage, there's no way you could be proactive for those things. Now you have to be preemptive. And the way you do that is through community and partnership and having the right plans in place. So a big piece of this, a whole entire event is, look, we're hosting at Staccato Ranch, which is in Florence, Texas, just outside of Austin. And it is about getting a bunch of cybersecurity people together. Like you said, a couple of vendors, they're going to get some talk time, but we're not going to have anybody pitching anybody. But it really is about having down and dirty, trusted conversations. It's eye contact. It's having meaningful conversations. It is doing it in a safe environment. If you're a expert shooter who shoots often, this is a premium experience for you to hone your skills even more. If you've never even shot a pistol and you've always been like, I've never felt safe enough to do that, I don't know somebody that can help me with that, this is going to be the premium experience for you to sit there and do something that you've never done in your life. And everybody remembers their first time doing something. Everybody really remembers the first time doing something with people that they like and care about. And that's exactly what we want to do during this series of events. So that's going to be pistol shooting, both indoor and outdoor. It's going to be a premium experience at Staccato Ranch, in their boardroom with really high-end food to eat during the day and really great, meaningful, intentional conversations. And then it's going to be even, shotgun with clays for anybody who wants to participate with that. And then really walking away from that being like, that was a really, really great day and a really good use of my time. Versus, and you and I have both been to these series of events where you go to these big vendor-centric conferences, you walk around, you get a bunch of information, you spent, I'm saying that twice on purpose, an entire day. You might have gotten a couple of business cards, you might have followed up, they might have followed up with you, and then it went mute, which ultimately means you spent a day and you didn't get any value out of it. And I think you and I, both as leaders, have become so value-driven. Like, we value our time so exponentially that the only thing we want to do with people is deliver high value time, because our time is equally as valuable as yours, and it's up to us as the creators of this experience to deliver that value to the day so that you walk away and be like, today was a great day.
Yeah, man. And that's the key, that value driven piece, right? Is this is not, we've had people giving us feedback and saying, oh, wow, that's really cool. Or this is not just a showing up at a range and shooting a gun, right? This is not that, right? The facilities are next level. Like I've never been to a range anywhere near like this. Like, this is purpose built. They have 800 acres. This is designed and built specifically to be the best of the best in absolutely every way. This will be the nicest indoor range you've ever seen, the nicest outdoor range you've ever seen, like the nicest everything that you've ever seen. And beyond that, this is not just a bunch of people showing up. Yes, there's going to be guns there. Yes, there's going to be ammo there, but this is going to be instructor led. Like, this is going to be, when you leave this, you are going to leave. I don't care. And you said in the beginning, I don't care what level of shooter you are. When you leave this, you will have learned something. From a shooting perspective, I will be more competent. I will be more accurate. Like, I'll be able to do whatever the thing is that I'm looking to do more of. Even if I'm a first time shooter, I will feel more confident as a shooter when you leave. Again, no matter what your level, we'll have guys there that are former special forces guys. I guarantee you they will learn while they're there and come out of this with, wow, okay, I'm better at this because I was here today. We're also going to have that same level of expectation out of the cyber side, like the talks, like going through the factory tour, looking, and we're not just taking a tour to say, ooh, this is cool. Yes, it's going to be cool to see where they build Staccato firearms and where the bullets are made and how it's manufactured and all that kind of stuff. But we'll also be looking at it from a cyber perspective, hey, do you have manufacturing? Like, how do you look at this? And like, where is the risk profiles along this? Like, and we'll be able to talk about all of those things. And then also the lunch and learn and the vendor talks and the fireside chat, like all of those things are designed to have, when we walk away, how did we get better, right? And you and I talk about this a lot. It's the whole concept of kill your clone. Every 24 hours, a clone is created of you, and you have 24 hours to be at 1% better, so that when you fight your clone at the end of the next day, one of you is going to win. And if you don't improve, he wins. Mm-hmm. Right. So I have to get better every day. So when I look at my time in a morning and I wake up and I'm planning, what am I going to do today? I'm looking at all those activities. Is this going to make me better? Right. It's the reason why you and I aren't just sitting on the couch watching Netflix all day long. Right. We're intentional about the things that we do in the activities. That does not say that we don't ever watch Netflix. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that we're intentional about our time. And we're intentional about, if I'm doing that, that means I've already checked the boxes of the other things that I wanted to get done, and I had time left over, and that's okay. Right. But the intention of this day is to be super value driven, way beyond anything that we're going to get in multiple days at larger conferences. This is all one day. It's on a Friday. You show up in the morning, you leave in the afternoon, and you're done. Like, you don't have to bring anything with you other than yourself and your openness to both be willing to learn on the cyber and the shooting and the physical side, as well as connect and be open to have conversations. And if you come in with that mindset and openness, you will, I have full confidence that everybody that comes in with that openness will leave, hey, this was value add for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse here on this topic, but I want to say, one of my early mentors who ran amazing experiences and where he really planted a lot of the seeds about me wanting to run events for people said said it best when he said, look, there's 3 pillars to running an amazing event. Number one is you got to have an epic location. And, Staccato Ranch is an epic, purpose-driven, everybody there is committed to building a culture of an epic environment and place. And so, the culture is there for that. It's epic location. The second piece of it is you need amazing content. You have to have amazing content. And the depth and breadth of the content that we're talking about demonstrating and sharing with people, along with what other folks are going to bring to the table, is going to be valuable content that's going to make you really think about what it is that you want to be doing for the rest of the year and forward. And then the third piece of it is the community. And if you have an amazing community and you get people who on a Friday want to go to an amazing location and listen to great content, and they're seeking relationships that are going to support them and valuable relationships, my friend, we've crossed all 3 of those boxes off in a very, very meaningful way. And you should want to be at this experience because that's the value that we're going to deliver.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's exciting. Again, it's going to be all the top level stuff, food, guns, networking, connection. The folks that are going to be there are going to be next level. There's also going to be a lot of cool stuff. There'll be swag. There's going to be a giveaway. You're going to get discount codes if you want to join Staccato. Like, there's a lot of benefits to this event beyond just the things that we're doing. And we're super excited to be partnering with Staccato Ranch in this, and really excited. I mean, they're an amazing organization, that are really, they do a lot of veteran owned company. They're really focused on hiring vets, and obviously that's near and dear to our heart on that perspective. So, definitely sign up. We'll have the links in the show notes for all the details, signing up. If you're interested in sponsorship, we do have some open, sponsorship opportunities available. They are filling up quickly, though. The same thing on the CISO and cyber exec side. We already have quite a few folks that have signed up and are, on the line to sign up. So, the other thing to note is we are planning to do this. We've gotten enough interest. We've already scheduled our next one, with a soft launch in Q1 of 2025. So there will be another one of these coming up with a more regular cadence. So definitely, hurry up and sign up if you want to get in on this one, but there will be another one coming, in the Q1 of 2025.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to do this with you. Excited for the folks we got coming and the sponsors we have. So it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Everybody sign up, check the link, reach out with any questions. Neal and I are happy to jump on a call from a sponsorship perspective or from an attendee perspective. But yeah, it's a great opportunity. Again, it's around Austin, Texas, Staccato Ranch. Look it up on their website. It's an amazing place.
We'll see you there.
All right.
Thanks for joining us on Protect It All, where we explore the crossroads of IT and OT cybersecurity. Remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts to stay ahead in this ever-evolving field. Until next time.